St. Thomas Aquinas. Every year the Church celebrates the feast day of St. Thomas Aquinas on January 28th. St. Thomas Aquinas was born in the year 1225. He died the year 1274. He was canonized in the year 1323, and he's the patron of Catholic schools, students, colleges, philosophers, and theologians. Considered by many to be the greatest theologian in the Catholic Church. He was a large man and a brilliant student, but he was quiet and seldom spoke. His classmates actually called him the dumb ox. His professor said, "You call him a dumb ox, but his bellow will be heard throughout the whole world." His professor was none other than the great Saint Albert the Great. Thomas's wealthy family sent him at the age 5 to be taught by the Benedictines, in hopes that he would join their community and someday become an abbot. So the desire of the Aquinas family was basically Thomas would be famous, popular, and that prestige would redound to the Aquinas family. But then the Dominicans' lifestyle of prayer and study attracted Thomas more, and he joined them instead. His family was very upset and shocked that Thomas, a nobleman, would join a group of poor friars, so they captured Thomas and kept him imprisoned for more than a year in a family castle. Nothing could change his mind. However, they finally released him to rejoin the Dominicans. There's a story that Thomas was in the castle and they threw a loose woman, prostitute, in with him. And he took a firebrand and forced her out. Then, according to tradition, Thomas was given the gift of perpetual chastity. Thomas first studied under Albert the Great, but he preferred theology. One of the greatest Christian thinkers and writers, Thomas Aquinas, is well known for his writings in philosophy and theology. Now listen to this. He reportedly never forgot anything he read. He had a photographic memory. And he could dictate to 4 secretaries at the same time on different subjects. His most famous writing was called the Summa Theologica. This contains 5 volumes of his thought on all the Christian mysteries. Though he was considered great even in his own time, he remained humble and quiet. He prayed often and acknowledged that his gifts came from God. He had a mystical experience one day while he was offering Mass, December 6, 1273. Thomas had a spiritual experience, we'll call it a mystical experience. After that, he stopped writing completely. He said that after what he had seen, all that he had written was just straw. A few months later, the Pope invited him to the Council of Lyons in France, but Thomas died on the way. Thomas had been an advisor to kings, a writer of masterpieces, a counselor to popes, and a teacher of classics. Most of all, Thomas was a servant of God. He is a doctor of the Church and called the angelic doctor for his purity and his knowledge. So let's turn to St. Thomas Aquinas to pray for priests, for bishops, for theologians, that they would study hard, but especially that they would remain great humility. Recognize that all good gifts come from God.